Thank you for the prayers, John White. Hello, Marcia. When it's snowy and icy, don't drive on your cell phone. Give plenty of space and slow down. Alright, enough of the opening here. Alright, howdy folks, welcome back. I told you I would be back. So here we are with our opening frame here. This is our thumbnail. And I'm going to let that sit there for a second. And for those of you with eyes that see, can see what's going on there. Also, really quick, here's the date, November 21st, 2024. Okay, and I'll let that sit there for a second and take a moment to thank you for taking a moment of your time to be part of this family. All right. Very, very precious family. Okay, no joke. All right, so as you can see here, here is our bigger black object right here. Okay, you can see the CME splashing around it, going up and over it here. Okay, so it goes off the page a little bit and it's right there. That's the best frame right there. We'll go through this frame by frame, but for the moment here, let's start this up. Yeah, there we go, and let the loop play for a minute and get a couple of little adjustments going here. I think we go just a tad bit higher. There we go. I'm trying to work out this new tripod or new stand. All right, so as you can see, there's a big one down below here too as well, and then the big one off to the side. You can see all kinds of moons and stuff starting to interact with the sun. There's a secondary one down below here, or a third one, sorry, at the end there. So we'll go through this. It's a lot to go through, so everybody take a deep breath and let's just catch this opening frame. And we have a proton storm too as well. So you can see that it induced a proton storm that's actually heading our way. All right, so opening frame, November 21st, 2024. Here's your opening frame. You can see this area right here where our big event is about to come out is already having activity, little moons and stuff, little outer satellites already interacting with the sun here in this zone. Let me grab this button and we'll start going forward. You can see one right there leaving, and then here comes a little moon on this side, probably a little satellite to the event, the bigger object that comes out on this side. So little satellites interacting first. You can see this region over here growing really dark, okay? Then it brightens up a little bit. You can see shadows shifting around back up in here. We'll get to that part later. Here's this event right here, and you can see big event underway. Right here, you can see one of the little outer moons has plasma still attached to it right here. So there's a little moon and our bigger object right here coming out. And I believe this little ghost image right in here is our object. You'll see it here pretty soon on this side. In the next couple frames in the ghost image here. Right in there, I think is our object. And you can see the spaghettification effect happening over on this side. And when I continue, you can kind of see it moving through there. Very faint, but the little moons here that travel along with it kind of distort the whole image there. But you can make out there's a bigger object that just interacted there. And then this event over on this side. And there's the image right there. Now let me just zoom into this really quick here. Oh boy. Okay, you can clearly see the underside of it right here. It goes off the page, comes back around, circles around right here. You can see how the plasma stretches out, splays over it, and goes back this direction. All right, also on the other side here, note how plasma is coming out and hitting it and changing direction right here. So it's coming out, hitting the object and going this direction. You see this dark area right in there? Okay, so there it is right there. Whew. All right, now let's go ahead and start that little movie up for a second and just let that play. Let me slide this for a second. All right, so a couple of our bigger objects interacting with the sun right there, and then also some of the satellites that accompanying it, and it also induces our proton storm here. Okay, let's come on over here to solar ham. Currently, we're having an S2 radiation storm right now, okay? Our solar flux indice is at 166. It's up 3 points. Our sunspot number count is in the green, but we're up another 35 spots. That'll probably come down now that both of those objects have interacted with the sun and a bunch of the satellite moons causing little sunspots. That number will probably start dropping here pretty soon. The area doesn't matter right now. Let's pop this open. Okay, so very patchy region here. Everything came out of this side over here on the limb. All right, we can't even really see the configuration yet, but I bet it's going to start to diminish now that the event has happened there. So that one's done. Over here, it was on the back side, so we can't see the sunspot that created that other event, but I'm sure it's gone. Now, let's slide on over, scroll on down, and see the GOES X-ray flux does not reflect what we saw today because a lot of that didn't happen in between the sun and the satellite. Okay, so the instrument doesn't always reflect the activity that we see. Okay. Let me grab a water here really quick. All right. There we go. So, as you can see, it was kind of a bumpy day. Doesn't really reflect the activity that we saw, okay? Especially the two big objects. You can barely see that we interacted with two objects that are bigger than the sun. Now, going into tomorrow, there's this little bump here. Let's just come on over and check it out anyway. It's probably not much, but compared to what we just looked at, probably some trailing moons. Just the tail end of this event right here. Okay, so, and coming back to this one really quick, at the very end, let's catch this last few frames. We didn't finish clicking through those. All right, so there's your bigger stellar core right here moving out. Here's the previous frame that we were looking at. Okay, so let me slide on down a little bit here. Continue on. Whoops. All right, here we go. Boom. You can see it moving on by. Look at the big, huge spread that it causes from here to here. Okay, so little satellites trailing along. This one down here has a really strong magnetic field. It's attached to the spire here. So you see that one. That's probably a little stellar, or stronger stellar core that's moving on out. And note that they kind of block out the images here. All right, so that was the closing frames of your little, probably the like Nibiru type stellar core, the one that's smaller, that has a very strong magnetic field that, interacts with the bigger one, that orbits the bigger one that we just saw. Okay, so there's that. Now let's come back to the solar ham. So there's the tail end of this event right there. The other little, stronger stellar core type, Nibiru type one. All right. It's just a name somebody coined a name for it. So now what I want to talk about is our ongoing D-layer absorption event. That proton storm that you saw, the speckles coming off, is causing a D-layer absorption event. And I'm a stickler for absorption because this is going to have, ramifications here in the future. Your proton storm, 99%, X-flare potential, 10%. No beta, gamma, delta configurations, but these things came off of the side and off of the backside, so we don't really know what their true state was. So, anyways, our KP index kind of bumped up to 3 here for a second. You can see auroras are really dim, so that's good. All right, now, even more energetic eruption to report, this time from beyond the west limb. The latest event was captured by GOES 16 beginning around 1755 and launched a fast-moving energetic coronal mass ejection into space. A minor S1 radiation storm is now in progress. Bump that up to S2 is now in progress as energetic particles blasted away from the sun and have reached our planet. The CME itself should be directed away from Earth, and it looks like we're dodging potential geomagnetic storms, which is not great news for Aurora Skywatchers. Well, I'm sorry to break your heart, Aurora Skywatchers, but it's great news for the planet that we're dodging the geomagnetic storm, okay? Dodging the geomagnetic storm is great news for the rest of the world, okay? Auroras, you guys can paint pictures if you want. All right, we got enough pictures of auroras already. Let's just play their little ditty here. Now, note you don't get to see way off the screen where our object was. It's just right next to the sun. So you can... That's a cool one. Ooh, you can see it in that shot right there. Right in that one little red zone there. Yeah. All right, well, pause that. So there's your object caught right there too. Let's open up the tracker and do some tracking. Since we're lacking the tracking, we're going to do some track lagging. And now it's not showing the beautiful shockwave that it had just a little while ago. Well, isn't that wonderful? Okay. Yeah, update it to showing nothing. So the original shockwave was going this direction, the bigger one going that direction, and the other one going this direction. So both CMEs are heading away from the planet, but that doesn't mean said object isn't going to cruise by our planet. Let me just show you really quick. Okay. The CME was a big band. It was heading blossoming out in this direction. Another one was, the first one was blossoming down this way. So neither one heading towards our direction. But if the object is going this direction and interacts with the sun, the CME will go this way, but the object can still be going this direction. Same with the other one. even though the CME is going that way, that's when the sun first interacted with it. If it was on a trajectory, it caused the spark, it touched this black circle, pretend this is a magnetic barrier. Well, when those two magnetic fields touch, bing, a spark jumps off. We get our CME heading in this direction, but the object can still go this way, bringing the proton storm with it. That's how we're getting a proton storm off the back side of the sun, is because the object that's induced it is bringing it with it. Watch. Whoops. You can see right when this big one pops off on the right, that thing's coming kind of out in front of us. So we're going to see that proton storm for a while, I think. All right, so we come back to this. Let me back out of that really quick and come back to... All right, so what I want to do is open up our D-layer absorption map. If I can, please, Lord. We have one more page open up. All right, it's working. So here we are at our D-layer absorption map. Let me just load this ditty up really quick. Okay, so you can see it starts off with blue up here in the top and a little red on the bottom. I'm just going to take the little cursor and move it a little faster. You can see how it starts to green and get darker at the top, fill in totally red at the bottom. And then here's our latest right here at the very end. Okay, so over the course of the last about 10, 12 hours here, we've had this D-layer absorption going on. All right, and note the intensity is more on the southern hemisphere down here rather than the northern hemisphere. Well, if you have one of these objects right here, say this one travels below the planet, and we're looking at it on, whoops, give me this. You see this segment right here? Pop that open. Here's the north-south. If we have a CME or an object that comes off and travels south of the planet, say it goes by us, but it travels south, well, that would cause your D-layer absorption more intensely on the southern hemisphere than it would on the northern. I think that's what, our explanation why it's not evenly distributed north and south like we see most times. Sometimes we see it this way, but most times it's evenly, north and south. So I have a feeling that when we see some of these objects interact with our with our planet, sometimes they go south of it here, just like you see this little blast did, and it has a tendency to interact with the southern hemisphere more so than the northern. If we had one that traveled north, then we'd see more red up the top, less in green at the south. I think that's what's going on here. That appears to be what happens here. So, okay, let me get rid of that D-layer map. And this one. So, a cryovolcanic comet. We have witnessed another intensive eruption on Comet 29 Swashman-Waterballer. All right, 29P. The outburst on November 21st was brightened a nucleus factor of 79, and this is the sixth such eruption in the past 20 days. So we're having volcanic eruptions on comets, 6 of them in the past 20 days. All right, now you have your solar radiation storm in progress too. Today, Earth and all of our planet's satellites are being hit by a blizzard of energetic protons. It's an S2 class solar radiation storm. Oh. Ooh, I'm not feeling so hot right now. Okay, anyways, each snowy speck in the movie is caused by protons hitting the spacecraft's camera. Well, big old proton event heading our way from a backside blast. The only thing that really explains it is that these objects are coming our direction. And here's a look from further back, giving you a perspective a little bit further back as to what direction that thing might be heading. I'll leave it sit there for a second so you guys can be the judge of this too. All right. Seems to be getting bigger as it comes toward the camera. This is in between us and the sun, so it appears to be going like at our 2 o'clock. It's going to pass north of the planet above the northern pole at the 2 o'clock position with a couple of little satellites that might be trailing along. Hey, there's Harley. Good, you made it. Ooh, whoa. You can even see this one down here moving out too. So there's this one here, the secondary one, and then the first one's moving down through here. Just had a feeling, huh, Steve? Yeah, that's how this channel works. You don't get notifications, you just get this feeling. All right, so there we go. Solar's radiation storm in progress and cryovolcanic activity on comets. Okay, all the stellar bodies are having volcanic activity, even the comets. And they call that kind of activity cryovolcanic because, well, I think it's ice coming out of the middle. So, all right, let's move on here, shall we? We got to get. Oh. Thank you for bearing with me here. It wasn't all set up. As you can see, our intertropical convergence zone is still 15 degrees north of the equator. Okay, right through this zone right here. So we have air from the southern hemisphere being drawn up past the equator into the northern hemisphere here, about 15 degrees in latitude north. Okay, tropical convergence zone is shifted. Boy, we're just going to be a long report here. So let's just get up to our storm levels. All right, we had our bombogenesis storm that was going on right here. You see that it has retreated back out this way. This was our original low. Now we have another one that's moved in and taken over. So now it's this double low spinning together here. And we'll talk about this in detail here in a minute. Look at the size of this storm. Does that look like some kind of yin-yang symbol or what? All right, that thing's gaining strength. All right, so there's another gnarly vortex right there. This one over here by Madagascar kind of losing strength. And that's about it. All right, now let me go ahead and put on the sandstorm really quick. Get that out of the way. Oh, take the wind off. Okay, thank you. All right, pull back. And as you can see, our sandstorm still very intense, but it comes right up the coast and it's just hugging the coast of Africa, basically. So it's not really extending out across the Atlantic so much in intensity, but it's okay because we don't have a lot of hurricane genesis going on in this region now. So the sandstorm did its job throughout the course of the season and diminished a lot of the hurricanes that could have been conveyor belt structure. Now, last night I showed you 4 typhoons back to back to back to back that hit the Philippines. That's that kind of conveyor belt type, back to back structure that I was talking about. And we're lucky we didn't get it and it hit that side of the world instead. So there's your sandstorms. You can see the wind is taking a lot of it straight up here. Okay, so we got a different effect going on right there. But you can see some of these areas still have quite a bit of sand going on there. All right, now we're going to come over to, first let's do SO2, get this out of the way as well. Hopefully some of you guys listened to Mike from around the world tonight. He was talking about all these different gases coming out of the ground, methane, sulfur dioxide. He said you'll start smelling sulfur someday. Okay, well, This is why, because we got all these perforations in the crust and all kinds of SO2 coming out. Here's your country divided, all right? Bleeding out on one side, perforations in the crust on the other. Now, as we try to get into this here a little bit, I'm going to pop on the fires here. Thank you for praying, guys. I feel better now. All right, I don't see too much fire activity, but some of these things come out of the ground emit gas so hot that it causes spontaneous combustion of any kind of surrounding vegetation, especially if it's a dry season and they're in drought, right? But so far, fire activity is down here. But you can see little pockets way up here, perforations in the crust up here in Canada, all these different little spots. A few years back, there's 4 little dots along the Sierra crest here, and I think it was BP Earthwatch that brought it people's attention, and everybody took note. Well, now it's all over the place, and they're trying to just kind of pretend like it doesn't exist anymore. Meanwhile, Cuba, Jamaica, activity going down through Mexico. A lot of this is volcanic little vents opening up, spewing SO2. Some of the Reventador activity in the region too as we come down through here. All of these islands here spewing SO2. South America. Okay. Here's your fulcrum point spot. It's pretty intense right there, but the other ones are kind of diminished as far as their intensity. So that's good. A lot of pressure being relieved in this area. You can see how dark the color gradation gets in here. So a lot of SO2 being emitted through this region, so much so that the wind picks it up and takes these plumes out into the Pacific. So that's a decent sized little plume. All right, and that good news, kind of. It's reducing pressure in that area, or venting pressure in that area, keeping earthquake magnitudes down along this plate boundary system. Okay, let's come on over, take a peek into Oahu. Still intense SO2 emissions out of there. Better than having a volcanic eruption. We got family members that live there, so pray for people that live there on Oahu. Meanwhile, volcano and SO2 emissions at Hawaii. We come around to the east, and we go back 8 hours for their time frame, their time difference. Okay, you can see this region starting to darken up, fill in again, and these patches of ribbons now. They're not just little dots, they're huge old patches and ribbons, and so they've got a lot of strong SO2 emissions in this whole country. Okay, as far as Taiwan goes here, we haven't seen a lot of fulcrum point quake activity out of here, so we're seeing a lot more SO2 emissions out of that region. You look here, Japan's a volcanic island chain, or island in itself, so SO2 emissions there. You can see volcanoes here in the Kamchatka with a little SO2 coming there. Whoops, way up in here too. Ow. Excuse me. Here we go into India. You can see that they're darkening up too. This concentration, blows up against the Himalayas, and the Himalayas are so high it doesn't make it over. So it just keeps circulating back around over India, concentrating it and getting darker in that region. Over here too. Another thing we're going to do, let's put fires on over here, can we? Now this region of the world uses fire a lot for their heating, their cooking, because they have a lot of, they're not as technologically advanced, let's just say. But we're talking about SO2 emissions and methane emissions coming out of the ground, sparking fires in the deserts out here. All right, I've already seen some of the footage of these sand pits opening up and catching fire out here in the desert. So a lot of these are just campfires and stuff like that, so we really can't trust on this. But I wanted to see if any of those yellow ones were going to start lining up because we expect to see some of that happening in this region. Well, we're already seeing it happen in that region. So, okay, so there's your SO2 report. Oh, just really quick, come on into Java, the purple island of Java, where we have Semaru that goes off daily, at least 14, sometimes 15,000 feet. There are so many like volcanic perforations that the whole island just bleeds SO2, as well as volcanic activity and earthquakes on the plate boundary system there. So it's a relief valve. A lot of pressure that builds up down below gets vented through this area. And you can see all the little islands that, in this. Where's my cursor again? Well, all the islands in this little island chain here, they're volcanic too, and they're emitting SO2. All right, so nice and dark purple tonight. That means that pressure is built up. We're seeing good emissions. All right, now over here, really quick, just touch base. Here's Fiji, our deep quake region, and our little pencil island right here with the two SO2 emission sites. Relieving pressure right here at the entrance to the plate boundary system, keeping magnitudes down and earthquakes down along this plate boundary system, as well as volcanic activity through there as well. Okay, now let's get into the nitty gritty. Everybody take a nice deep breath in. All right, here we go. Let me put the wind on here. No, we're going to leave the wind off for a minute. Okay, bear with me. Now, what I want to talk about is what happened over here. We had the bombogenesis matching up with these heat-cold signatures right here. Okay, I'm going to put the wind back on. You're going to see we've had a little change. All right. We've had a little change. We have a new rotation here because we've had this little spot right here open up and get hotter. So heat next to cold causes that rotation. So we have two centers of rotation right there. That's kind of why your storm didn't come through and it backed off. All right. And we have a new spot that's opened up and a new center of rotation that's taken over. So we have a double rotation right now. And I'm going to let that sit there for a second so you guys can see how warm air rises, cold air rushes in to replace it. It heats up and rises. More cooled air rushes in to replace it. So we have a new hot pocket out there that has created a new vortex center of rotation. I'm going to show you something here in a minute. All right, let me take a deep breath. Oh, man. All right, let me try to back out of this for a second. Right here, we're looking at our thermal signatures controlling air patterns, all right, and creating these bombogenesis storms off the west coast here. What I'm going to do here is we're going to cut back to the air. I'm going to take you up here. This is, let's do the polar vortex, okay? So way up high, this wind is pushing the opposite way. All right, so it's not this polar vortex affecting it. It's usually the lower jet stream. This is your upper jet, really quick. You see where it's blowing? It's doing something similar, but check this out. It's blowing across the country right here, right? So we come a little bit further down to the lower jet stream. You see the correlation from the upper to the lower. You see how this little center right here, all this energy right here from the jet stream is going up and across and getting hooked up with this storm. When we come over to these GFS models tonight, you'll see a lot of this stuff keeps rotating here and doesn't go across. It's not making it across. We go down to 850. That's where our storm level is. All right. our storms are just sitting here off the coast, bouncing out, retrograding, coming back in, bouncing out. They're just sitting over these hot cold pockets here. None of it's making it across here. So it's not our lower jet that's controlling the weather. It's our lower weather that's really kind of affecting our lower jet stream a little bit. These storms are so powerful that they're affecting the lower jet stream right here. And a lot of this energy should be going up and across like that and being going down, but it's not. Like I showed you here, just a little bit lower. Here's all your energy staying out here. Okay, and it's all because we got that thermal patch hanging out there. Sorry, I got to bounce all over the place, but I'm trying to make this point so you guys can grasp this concept. Okay, do you see here where your storm's just sitting here circulating, bringing stuff into the West Coast? Not much of it's traveling across the country. We're getting a cold feed from Canada coming down through here. See this new setup? This new setup is because of new hot patches and new configurations. That's why your typical winter storm will come in a common shape like this, and it'll slam the coast. It'll move across the Sierras, go across the Rockies, the plains, and then out. Right? That was our typical weather pattern. Now it comes right up to the coast, gets boom, sits right there. So I think this is going to baffle some of the weather people as to why this is just hanging out there and it didn't move across the country. And it can just sit there and continue to bomb out again over and over if that configuration doesn't change. Now we had this change in the configuration. Let me take you over to the earthquake map now. Last night when we were looking at this, I was saying what we need to kind of break up that huge storm would be some earthquakes in that area, right? Do you guys remember me saying if we could just have some earthquakes in this area, that it would break up that configuration? And lo and behold, look what we have. Okay, we have two earthquakes here right on the fulcrum point. I'll give you these magnitudes. Here's a 3.2 at the surface right here, and a 3. Give me this other one. There we go. A 3 at the surface and a 3.2. Let me just make sure there was any smaller ones in there. Okay, that's good enough though. So, ta-da, we had our quake activity right here. All right, note the region too. If I could just have that one right there. All right. So here's your Juan de Fuca coming off of the Crescent City little point here. Okay, your peninsula point coming out, zigzagging up, going up the Pacific coast right there. Now when we come over to here, take the wind off really quick. Okay, so here's your point right here where the Juan de Fuca comes out. You see your fracture zone comes out. There's cold water inundation in that area. We have this region right here that is heated up. And right here below now, this little thing right here is contributing as well. Here's this tongue feature that's sticking out right here. And then when we come up here, it goes up, it zigzags. And look, we have cold water now in this little pocket. Let me put this wind back on. See this little pocket right here? And now we have our rotation hot with that new little pocket right there, causing this new rotation right there. Let me try to pull back a little bit so you can see. Hopefully that's capturing it right there. Maybe if I stop moving stuff around. Okay, so now you can see why we have this double loop, why this one did not push on through like a regular low and go across the country. It retrograded, went back out because we had a new feature open up out here causing a new center of rotation. These things are going to dance around each other probably. And it's just going to continue to take, look at this now. This is warm, moist air down here. It's taking warm, moist air, throwing it over cold water right before it hits the coast. We also have a cold air influence driving down, mixing with that warm air, throwing it over cold air and up into this region. If this continues like this, it's just going to throw more and more water and snow at this whole region. Okay, I showed you the opening intro was a bunch of snow, how it's already starting to interact with the West Coast. All right. So I'm going to let that sit there for a second so you can kind of wrap your head around that whole configuration, why we had our change up. We were talking last night, if we could just have a couple earthquakes in that area, it would disrupt this. Well, it did disrupt it, maybe not to a good advantage. It might be even worse. So we'll see. Let's just pray that something else blossoms and changes this configuration. Meanwhile, we come back over to here. You can see Tamumasi and this whole field of little seamounts, cracks in the ocean floor is blossoming. It's getting bigger. Little fingers reaching down through here and stuff. You see a very big vortex growing right here, hot and cold right next to each other. Rotation. Okay, so you're getting a big storm brewing right here because of that. If we pull back, let me just get this centered just right. It lets you look at all the, like the gears and the belts and the pulleys and wheels. It's like this big, huge engine with, a serpentine belt that runs through it. Look at this region here. It's all started to blossom and get really hot out here. We got a lot of new hot water out here, don't we? So let me take off the winds and let's get into this report here. Okay, you can see cold water inundation starting to reach down through this area. Okay, a lot of pressure is getting relieved, so we got cold water inundation can come down, and it's getting close to this hot area. So we're going to start to see stuff brew in that area. Let's come on over here. Look, Taiwan had some yellow around it. It's kind of retreated a little bit. There's cold water down below it right here, below Taiwan. So maybe some earthquake activity or something. SO2 emissions in there may have helped. Okay, here's Java. Look at this. There's a new vent that opened up. For the last few days, we've seen really hot water coming off the shore of Java here. So it's, like I said, our relief valve. So much volcanic activity, SO2 emission, earthquakes, and now an vent has opened up right there, it looks like. Okay, look down here as well. There's a big something going on down here too. Okay, inland seas don't count because they can get pockets of warm water because there's no circulation. Here's your Atlantic anomalies. We had this, well, if you listen closely what Mike was saying tonight, along this mid-Atlantic ridge, it's unzipping, okay? This is where pressure comes out. It's this mid-Atlantic ridge. If we could pull up this really quick here. Okay, this whole plate boundary is like a zipper that runs down the planet. All right, there's magma, nickel, maybe even cesium coming out of this crack. Okay, this is where everything comes up from down below, and it goes right through Iceland. We saw the fissure open up in Iceland last night. Right, still kind of going. We saw an earthquake at the top of the world yesterday. All right, so this whole area is a lot of pressure comes out of this region. And even though we don't see a lot of earthquake activity here, we do get it relieved in the form of these vents. And you can see that something has changed out here. Now we have a new configuration. Let me put these winds back on. I know I'm all over the place tonight. Just bear with me. It's getting a little hard to do this report anymore. Okay, so there you go with your conveyor belt structure for the Atlantic right now, which is kind of good. You see air coming out of the Canada, kind of coming down and shoving stuff into the Gulf. It's not coming up from the Gulf and mixing with cold air. That would be worse. I'd rather see cold air kind of diving down, pushing this away. It's when this warm, moist air comes up into the country and slams into that cold air, in this zone that we see severe weather. But now we have this cold influence coming straight down. So that has changed. We also have different heat patches and signatures going on out here. Watch out here. If it weren't for this vortex fighting this vortex, we would see something growing right in this region. All right, you can see we have hot and cold water mixing right here. Probably the reason for our vortex here, our rotation there. Okay, this is hot water anomalies. All right, so a plume opens up on the ocean floor. It's venting, little spurts of magma, right? Well, a column of hot water will rise up to the surface. Once it hits the surface tension makes it blossom out like a cauliflower, right? So all these are blossoms, all these are plume heads from vents on the ocean floor, okay, causing these hot water anomalies. All right, then over this hot water, the air gets warmer. All right, so you get hot air over hot water, cool air over cold water. Cool air rushes in because this hot air is rising. Okay, so cold air rushing in to replace, and that's what causes your rotation and your vorticity. I know I say it over and over again, but there's newcomers sometimes that gotta hop in there too. Now, as you can see out here on the equator off of South America, all these openings in this region have really disrupted our La Nina. There was a well-defined, well-established La Nina here. In fact, what I'm going to do, let's pull back here. I want to take you back on the calendar for a minute, just so we can look at this La Nina. Let's go back a couple months. See how more S-shaped and stuff it was? There was still a little spot there. Let's go back even a couple more months. All right, you can see the nice C-shaped blue water, these C-shaped curves. This was La Nina starting to go into effect. But all that got messed up now because of these openings. And see how it's made it all gnarly and disrupted it now? You see the difference? So, venting on the ocean floor, these thermal plumes have disrupted your La Nina pattern, is also, you see the wind coming up from above the equator, going up here. You think maybe these thermal patches that are opening here along the equator are driving air up here, and our convergence line is way up here because of these thermal patches that have opened up along the equator there? Disrupting the La Nina. That's what's going on. Okay, so back to our earthquake report. Let's hop into this. So, deep quake region. 4.8 down at 337. That's not way down there. That's maybe halfway. So it's a little higher than our mid-range 4. Here's another 4.8. Now here's down at depth, 584. So there's our first deep quake in a few days here. And it's a little higher than a mid-range 4. It's up at mid-range, or 4.8. So a slight little uptick in pressure from down below, causing a 4.8 down at depth. Another 4.8 here at not at the surface, but midway up. We'll probably see another 4.8 or a 5 at the surface in this region in the next quake or two. Meanwhile, here's the entrance to the plate boundary system. This is where your crack just starts to get deeper and deeper and form your crack. All right. So it's starting to right here, and here's our pencil island that relieves some of the pressure via SO2 emissions. So pressure that builds up under here gets relieved by this slow leak here, like a leaky bicycle tube, keeping magnitudes and earthquake activity down. We also have volcanic activity on these little islands that relieve pressure from down below, keeping earthquake activity down. And note, there's no earthquakes in that region. See how it's keeping the earthquake activity down? See, no earthquakes. We had one here the other day, and that was, first one in a while. Moving on, 5.2 on the volcanic ridge. Okay, earthquake activity on a volcanic ridge. Sign of pressure down below. This little deep region right on a plate boundary right here, this is a 4.4, but the depth of 122 tells me it's not a boundary quake. This is on the flank of a volcanic island here. See this little one? Get this out of there. See how they're all in a nice little line right here? This one's popping up out of the water. There's a seamount right there. Oh, right on the flank of this little ridge, this little underwater mountain right here. Bingo. So earthquake activity on a volcanic feature is a sign of pressure down below. As we get into this region, 4.4, again, 158 tells me down by a volcanic feature. We're getting closer to the island of Java here. 4.6 down at 234, another volcanic island out there, seeing earthquake activity. All right, nothing along the plate boundary through here or up through there. Okay, so we come over here, check this, 4.6 at 106, another volcanic feature. Let's touch base with this one again. 5.2 down at 39, that's a little deeper. We got something going on just off this plate boundaries. You can see all these little seamounts that have kind of grown along this out here and approach this plate boundary right there. So probably something going, new little vent opening up maybe right there. Here's an island that's a volcanic island sticking up above the water. On the flank of it is, note it's not at the surface, it's down at 84. So earthquake activity, volcanic feature, sign of pressure down below. Now, as we come over here to Taiwan, we start to see this. This is not a fulcrum point quake, but it is relieving some pressure in the region. Mid-range 4, especially at the surface, 7.2, that is definitely energy being scrubbed at the surface right there. Okay, so the pressure made it all the way up to the surface. It didn't fire off at the fulcrum point. Maybe this is jammed up or locked up. We're seeing a lot of SO2 emissions out of here, so it pops up a little bit further north. We need to see, please close that out, more mid-range 4, 5 activity to relieve pressure in that area. Keep that as our relief valve. Now, here's a spot where we had a vigor quake earlier this year in Japan. Here's a 4.8. It's down at 48, so this isn't scrubbing energy at the surface. This is a volcanic island right here. See how the edge of it goes way down to the ocean floor? Let me pull back just a dimension. Okay. See how this is above the water, volcano right there. It goes right down to the ocean floor. So this is the flank of a volcano. Earthquake activity down at 48 on the flank of a volcano. Sign of pressure down below. 4.6, 55. Again, same pressure down below. Let's cover the rest of the planet. Quick fulcrum point quake over here by India, by Afghanistan, 4.3, thicker crust there, so it's down at 99. Nothing through Europe, very quiet there. Let's do plate boundary quake down. No, maybe not. 4.9, the South Sandwich Islands. We've been seeing a lot of volcanic activity at these islands down here. So pressure down below. What do you do with 4.9s? 5 energy at a volcanic site there. Let's come into our fulcrum point here. Now remember, we have a lot of SO2 emissions keeping magnitudes down in this region, keeping them down to 4.3. We have thicker crust through here too, so some of these are, halfway deep. 4.3, the other weak spot, 4.9, one down at 164. So energy here at your fulcrum point, a lot of the magnitudes being kept down. This region is known for the biggest quakes in the world, so we haven't seen any in that region because of moderate quakes like this, plus SO2 emissions, relieving pressure when it comes up to the surface. 4.4 down at 170, that's on a volcanic feature too. I mean, we could go take a peek, but you can see these mountains right here, they kind of crisscross, so probably a good little fulcrum point weak spot in there. You could see these fault works going up through here. So quick magnitude check. Here we go. 4.1 in the Dominican Republic. That's definitely an uptick in magnitude. This region's more, was mid-range 2, has bumped up to 3.2 in that region as its new average. So when I see something higher than a 3.2, that's higher than its new average. That's an indication of pressure down below, an uptick in magnitude right there. That's a good little indicator right there. I like that one. All right, let's hop into America now. America, make sure we're all magnitude. Yes, sir. All right. So we were talking about our 2 quakes here on the fulcrum point of the Juan de Fuca, relieved pressure down there. All right, changed the configuration, opened up something else, and now we have a different configuration of our vortexes out here off the coast. Also, I want to just really quick touch base, little microquake activity at Rainier. It's quake activity on a volcanic flank, indication of pressure down below. Coming in, fulcrum point, nothing really push inland either. Small little bit right here, 1.4 at Willits. Where do they make? Okay, here's your little quake swarm around the geysers here. 2.3. What's this little guy? Another 2.3 up by Middletown. All right, a little bit of energy, came in, is being relieved here at the geysers, keeping magnitudes down to like 2.3. Here's a North Bay quake that's 1.5, South Bay 1.6, just East Bay 1.9. So kept all those quakes down to a very minimal magnitude that, you can't feel. It's good. It's relieving pressure as it goes all the way down the plate boundary. I want to take a peek down here. So 2.0 at Malibu on our teardrop acorn type structure right here. Okay. Right here it comes, this is where it leaves the land and goes down underwater. Okay. So right here we have a weak zone, water inundated land right here that acts like jello. Let me take that out of there. Okay. So as this structure comes down into the water, we've been seeing a lot of earthquake activity right off this point right here at Malibu, even on land right here. And there's no fault system there. Okay. It doesn't look like there's a major, San Andreas fault running through there, but you can see this structure. When you look from a little bit further back here, you can see it comes out. Boom, goes up, matches with the plate boundary, comes down to here. The boundary continues on, but this thing kind of cuts across the land and comes back up through here. So it almost looks like an eye, a big giant eye type structure right there. And when it comes off into the water, there's your weak zone right there. And when I see stuff like this 2.0 in this weak zone, it tells me there's a little pressure coming back to life under this thing. Let's go take a picture, take a look at what's going on. Okay, here's that bay right there, and there's some red off the coast, but this is nothing like what it used to be. There used to be a big yellow patch right in that bay, so it's not too bad, but you can see this little area, it was down to here. Now there's a new little influx. Let me just try to do this. It was just this little red finger. Now we've seen this little bulb right here starting to creep in. We also got pressure growing over here, it looks like, too. All right, so when we come back, you see, boom, right there, 2.0. All right, let's get out of here. Quick little stop over here. All kinds of man-made perforations, relieving energy at the surface via man-made perforation at 2 magnitudes. Bunch of little microquakes. Ooh, there's a good little flurry right there. Okay, even though it's what it is, it does vent energy. Okay, pressure that's underneath does get vented in this area. What's this? Okay, Oklahoma. I want to see New Madrid. Here we go. Fulcrum point of the New Madrid, 1.8 at the surface. Indication of pressure down below at a fulcrum point on the New Madrid. We also had a quake up here on the edge of the craton too yesterday. Here is a new little odd quake. 2.8 in Harvard, Nebraska. Oh, that's not screaming a sign. I don't know what it is. Yeah, let me just take a look at what this feature is that it's next to. Oh, dude. There's your diverse quake. There's no like tectonic feature. I mean, that's way out there though. Diverse quake. We're getting diverse quakes because pressure from down below. Earthquake activity is different than what it used to be. It used to be pushing together subduction plates and this and that. Now it's more pressure from down below pushing upward from the underside of the crust, trying to make its way up to the surface and out. Okay, there's your earthquake report. Let's get her done. You guys hanging tough, man. Let's take a peek at this really quick. What's going on in the chat? Oh, good. Got them paralyzed. All right. So let's open this up really quick. So we have 37 erupting, 33 in active. Okay. Warning is very active. Okay. So altogether, 70 volcanoes. I don't even count these that are on at rest because we're just trying to be conservative a little bit with this. That's 70 active volcanoes. All right. Now, 7 years ago when all this started happening to me, if I'd have told you back then we would have 70 active volcanoes 7 years from now, you would say, Brian, you're crazy. You're lost your mind. You're nuts. You're crazy. Well, here we are, 7 years later, and we have 70 volcanoes. And I am still crazy about you. Okay, here we go. My little shtick. Thank you for enduring it. Hopefully, some of you like it. Hopefully, it irritates some of you too. All right. Meanwhile, Manam, 8,000 foot blast. Luatobi, 10,000. Okay, here we go. A little height at Luatobi, Florida is there. Now, Semeru, always, every day, 14,000 feet. Okay, so it's doing its job. Ducono, 9,000. Popocatépetl, 19,000. That's a little lower. It's usually pushing above 20. Fuego, no thing. But that was just in the last few minutes. Here's today, which is now yesterday. So let's open up that because time just flies at this channel. All right, really quick, pointing out these volcanoes through this region, keeping earthquake activity down because they vent energy, pressure comes out through these volcanoes in that region, keeping earthquake activity down in that plate boundary system. Meanwhile, here's Java. So many active ones up here. The Kamchatka has Shivalus, Kluchevskoy, Bizamani, Karaminsky, Adelaide, and Ebico. All of those are currently erupting. That's a lot of currently erupting in one little small patch. Don't forget Stromboli and Etna, both of them currently erupting. Svarensky currently erupting. That one went red. Michael, down here, we saw SO2 emissions and earthquake activity down there too. This one out here at Home Reef, that one's active. All right, we got semi-active ones up here in the Aleutians too. So, and don't forget, even Antarctica has an active, currently erupting volcano. All right, looking at the madness here as the lava intruded into the parking lot. Mm-mm-mm. I really like my stick. Okay, good. There's a couple other YouTubers I watch. They got their little quirks and sticks too that I like. So it just makes people different, unique from each other. Anyways, here's a bulldozer or your excavator just yards away from lava. So they're doing their best to build a barrier wall to keep it from getting to the Blue Lagoon Resort because it's that close. Okay. All right, so let's move on with our report. Here's your maps, your danger zones, but most of you don't live in Iceland, so we don't need to waste a lot of time on that. You can come over here yourself and look at it. But what I want to point out here again is your fissure, it's a crack. It didn't open up in a volcanic cone or predetermined open site. A crack opened up in the ground split open, and a curtain of lava shot up. Now, when you see these huge, long cracks and tall curtains, that's a lot of pressure being relieved at one time. So these kind of eruptions, they're different. It's the ground basically being stretched from underneath till it cracks and opens up and lava pours out. Okay, so there's your still ongoing eruption in Iceland. Here's another good example of it. Here's your long, straight, linear fissure. It's basically a fissure that opened up that reaches all the way down into the magma, and the magma, there's so much pressure down below. This magma squirted from below, was pushing up, and it finally found a path of least resistance, and it cracked the ground open, squirted up out of it, and overflowed, and is running down, shooting curtains up in the air. Okay, because pressure down below, we got some impulse from the sun. It heated up the core. The core translated that heat into the magma. The magma then expands, heats up and expands outward in every direction from underneath. And that's what's causing all this volcanic activity. Over and over, God, Brian. Yeah, say it once, man. You don't need to say it once. Svarensky. Crater is approximately half of what it was recorded during the August 22. Okay, so that's all good. Kinleon, 9,000 feet. Manam, where are we here? Oh, 8,000 right there. IBU or Ibu, 8,000 feet. Luatobi Flores, 10,000 feet. Semeru, again, every day at Java, 14,000 feet. Ducono, 8,000. Fuego, 15,000. Nevada del Ruiz, 20,000. And Reventador, well, there's just no EMS on it. Get yourself a school bus, bulletproof it like this, and make sure it's not yellow when you try to hide in the woods. Okay, so there is your volcano report. A lot of ash going into the air, up into the stratosphere every day. All these volcanic blasts just over and over and over keep spewing more ash into the air, which are more particulates for water vapor to stick to and make deeper, more productive rainfall. Okay. So we got all the way through that. Now let's X out of this one. I want to come on over here now to our current storm. All right, this is our current conditions right now, the nighttime of November 21st. We still have severe weather up in Northern California, all this moisture, this huge comma shape still, our atmospheric river being projected right into Northern California, going up through this region sometimes too. So now let's pull back so I can get just a tad of this button. So this current conditions going into tomorrow morning. We have severe weather all along the coast, going all the way up the Oregon coast. They've already seen some water spouts making landfall. Okay, I told you that that could happen. Even though this is a cold storm, it still has severe weather. So you're going to see the potential for quick little spin ups, maybe, water spouts making landfall, occasional tornado, really strong wind gusts. We've already seen all the trees taking out, all the power lines in that area. Yeah, I was telling you to get chainsaws and stuff because you're gonna need them. All right, there's tomorrow morning. So everybody in this area, it's not over. Tomorrow morning, there's still severe weather. There's noontime. Look at this snow way up here along the border, getting intense along here where the cold air matches. It's recycling around. There's severe weather on the backside of this. It's bringing up this whole trough again. That's the noon. There's convection. That's when cloud tops are at their highest. The sun has had a chance to add its 2 cents to the process too. And now you're seeing severe weather again right up here in these foothills, snow, turning into snow in that area. Okay, this area has been under under uh, under the gun for a while, so more water is not going to help. All right, these little gullies and stuff, you're going to see mud flows, debris flows. You can see severe weather reaching into the Bay Area there. Let me just reach really quick. One zoom that I can. Yeah, you see this whole strip right here? Looks like it's going to go right across the Bay Area and up through there during the afternoon convection hours when the sun's about to go down in California right there. And this deep, deep low still rotating up there. Nighttime tomorrow. Okay, that's going to be even nastier. Morning, we got snow all along the foothills of the Sierras, running down, Central California. There's noon, convection the 23rd. Nighttime, morning of the 24th. There is a quick break right there. Between as soon as all that's done, right there is a little break from the nighttime of the 23rd, morning of the 24th. And then here we go again by the noontime of the 24th, convection, nighttime, morning of the 25th, noon, convection, nighttime, morning of the 26th, noon, convection, nighttime. All right, finally it is cleared out of that Northern California region by the nighttime of the 26th. Okay, that's all subject to change because we still have that hot water patch. Whoops, where'd that go? Oh, I took it down. We still have that hot water patch out to our configuration. So anything after this is going to be a little subject to change anyways. So here we go with morning of the 27th, noon, convection, nighttime. Actually, this is just the West Coast. Let's go ahead and do the whole country. All right. So back up a little bit because we do have this storm right here that's moving through on the 25th. Okay, so cold air comes back down through here, pushes up through the Great Lakes area. You got your big patch of snow up in Canada, moisture here, morning of the 26th. There's your noontime 20 or 27 right there. It's moved out. So noon, convection, nighttime of the 27th, noon or morning of the 28th, noon, convection, nighttime, 29, noon, convection, nighttime, 30, noon, convection, nighttime, 40, convection, nighttime. All right, so that's way out there in the distance, but I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to see that flow happening out there. Until we see a little change up in that configuration out there in the water. So Let me go back to the other one. It's just a little bit better. Oh, there it is. Okay, so everybody, it's not over. Up in Oregon, Washington, you guys are still going to be getting hammered for the next couple of days. There's tomorrow morning, noon, convection, nighttime. 23rd, noon, convection, nighttime. There's your break right there. Then on the 24th, another little impulse. Okay, so there's your weather. All right, everybody, hold on here on the West Coast. Hopefully you're prepared and you can endure. All right, so that's a lot of stuff to take in, and it can be taxing on your brain. So we're all going to take a nice deep breath in through your nose or in through your mouth, out through your nose, or other way, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Nice long deep breath. Hold it for a few seconds while you exhale. While I get all this stuff up here going. All right. Don't forget to breathe yourself, Brian. Okay, so pull up a few images here for you guys to chill and relax to for a minute. You know what we're gonna do really quick here? Can we have this video without an ad? His face. Here, I'm gonna play this video really quick here. Howdy folks, welcome back. So snapping some pictures of the clouds yesterday, and I noticed something forming in the clouds, what looked like a face over here. And I'm gonna start zooming in on this face because it's a real face. And if you look back behind it here, let's zoom in just a little bit. You'll notice that back behind here, this face is being projected by Jesus's heart right here. You can see it radiating out. Here's Jesus's face. He's pulling open his shirt, exposing his heart. His heart's radiating out this image in the sky. See his face here? And there's a crown right here. Also in the etherical, in black, there's another crown right here. Anyways, I just wanted to show you this picture. Isn't this amazing? And this face, I recognize this face. I know who this is. I know who this face is. I see him every morning in the mirror. It's my face. I recognize my own face. Okay, so after going through all kinds of weird stuff and enduring some unbelievable stuff, all of a sudden my face starts showing up in the clouds. And let me just take you to what else happened here. Oh yeah, it's going to do this. Anyway, so that's not all. I got another one. And a few moments later, in this image, I took a picture of the same cloud, but this is different angle. I rotated it 90 degrees. And I want you to look right up in here. You can see that there's a face, two eyes, smile. Here's the head. And the arms are outstretched, and he's holding a cell phone taking pictures of the sky. This is an image of me taking the pictures of the clouds. So the clouds are now mimicking me taking pictures of them. What does that tell you? The clouds are making me, an image of me taking pictures of them. So Jesus recognizes that I'm taking pictures of him in the clouds and produces this image with my face holding out the cell phone. This is the same cloud configuration, just I took it from a different angle and rotated it. So same thing right here. All right. So hopefully you can see this little image right there. That's what we're aiming at this video. It's a little bit bigger right there. All right. Real images, real clouds, real events. Okay. It's been really painful, really taxing when nobody believes you or will even give 5 minutes of their time to look or listen. That's why I thank you folks every night for your precious time, because it is precious to me. I couldn't get people's attention, couldn't get the time, and it's for their good. It's for their own good. It's not for me. It's not like, hey, look at me and what I'm enduring. No, it's look what I found and how I can help you. Okay. I got some things for you here. So, we're talking about enduring and being patient and persistent, and one of the key tools is the thankful heart. Okay, having thankfulness in your life. Okay, when weird things happen to you, I was saying, thank thank him for it. Thank Jesus for the hard circumstances. It seems counter what you've been taught, but that's how you truly make leaps and bounds in the spiritual warfare. Okay, so when you're enduring circumstances, good or bad, it's good to think. All right, and have a thankful heart. And you got to do it each day. So thank me frequently as you journey through each day. This practice makes it possible to pray without ceasing. How is it possible to pray without ceasing? It's possible when you thank me frequently as you journey throughout each day. So, when the light's still green and you made it through and you didn't have to wait 10 minutes, oh, thank you, Lord, for the green light. All right, just little things like that. That's a frequent thanking. A frequent thanking keeps you in that mind frame, and that's how it makes this practice possible to pray without ceasing. So, if you're serious about learning to pray continually, the best approach is to thank me in every situation. These thankful prayers provide a solid foundation on which you can build all your other prayers. Okay. Solid foundation on which you can build. Again, these thankful prayers provide the solid foundation on which you can build on all of your prayers. A grateful heart and a grateful attitude makes it easier for you to communicate with me. So when your mind is occupied with thanking me, you have no time for worrying or complaining, do you? If you're busy thanking me for your circumstances, you don't have time to worry or complain. That's what's occupying your mind. This is all about occupying your mind and occupying your time. When you're having stressful thoughts and things are starting to get anxiety, thank me takes your mind off of it. It's that solid foundation, and it's that grateful attitude makes it easier to communicate. When your mind is occupied with thanking me, there is no time for worrying and complaining. So, if you practice this thankfulness consistently, negative thought patterns will gradually grow weaker and weaker. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to knock down those negative thinking patterns. We gotta fight back those negative thinking patterns, because you're just being bombarded with them all over the news, all over the media, everything that's going on. So when you need a break from that, have a thankful meeting with Jesus, and it'll occupy your mind when you won't have time for worrying and complaining. Now, what was the other one I had here? Yeah, you gotta. This is like a practice. It's like a daily drill. Is this daily practice of thankfulness? And if you practice thankfulness consistently, negative thought patterns will gradually grow weaker and weaker. Huh? Don't they? So draw near to me with a grateful heart, and my presence will fill you with joy and peace. Yeah, here's more. Here's more on this. So as you're having your thankfulness throughout your day, even if it's a bad circumstance or it's uncomfortable, you got to remember it's part of the day that I have made. And as you rejoice in each day of life, it will yield up to you precious gifts and beneficial training. So walk with me along the high road of thanksgiving, and you will find all the delights I have made already for you. To protect your thankfulness, you must remember that you reside in a fallen world where blessings and sorrows intermingle freely. Okay? So you're in this fallen world. There are blessings, but there are sorrows, and they're just like that hot and cold right next to each other. So they intermingle all the time. And it's hard to decipher sometimes which is a blessing. So you got to remember, walk the high road of thanksgiving and you'll find the delights. Okay, they may not seem like delights to other people, but you can delight in them. You protect your thankfulness by you must remember this fallen world, these blessings and sorrows intermingle. So how do I put this? This intermingling of blessings and sorrows, all right? You can focus on that sometimes too much. A constant focus on this adversity ends up defeating many Christians. They walk through a day that is brimming with beauty and brightness, seeing only the grayness of their thoughts. Neglecting the practice of giving thanks has darkened their minds. How precious are my children who remember to thank me at all times. They can walk through the darkest days with joy in their hearts because they know that the light of my presence is still shining on them. So rejoice in each day that I have made, for I am your steadfast companion. Let's have more. Yeah, good. I have more on thankfulness here. Okay, you see the heart right there. Let's get this nice and pretty like on. Just tap it right without a hand in the way. Oh, I want that heart right there. More centered in the page here, because for this next one. Just go right back here. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right, cool. You can see him nice and clear. Here's his head with the sunglasses pulling up in his shirt. That heart right there. Okay, I want you to look at that heart. Think of the Holy of Holies. And let thankfulness rule in your heart. Okay, so this thankfulness that we're practicing, let that thankfulness rule in your heart. Just like you see on that screen right there, that's thankfulness right there, ruling in the heart. So let thankfulness rule in your heart, and as you thank me for blessings in your life, a marvelous thing happens. It's as if the scales fall off your eyes, enabling you to see more and more of my glorious riches. Did you just hear that? Did you just hear that? You see these? I'll put that one right there. It's as if scales have fallen off of your eyes, enabling you to see more and more of my glorious riches. Have the scales fallen off of your eyes? Are you seeing more and more of my glorious riches here? Good, good. I'm glad you are, because now it works. It's as if the scales have fallen off your eyes, enabling you to see more and more of my glorious riches. With your eyes thus opened, you can help yourself to whatever you need from my treasure house. Each time you receive one of my glorious golden gifts, let your thankfulness sing out praises to my name. Hallelujahs are the language of heaven, and they can become the language of your heart. The language of your heart. Hallelujahs and thankfulness, the language of your heart. All of a sudden, your days aren't so rough anymore. Your circumstances, you're overcoming them now, and you're going from glory to glory. A life of praise and thankfulness becomes a life filled with miracles, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Doesn't a life full of thankfulness and praise produce a life of miracles? You're looking at miracles right here. So instead of trying to be in control, you focus on me and what I'm doing, and this is the power of praise, centering your entire being in me. This is how I created you to live, for I made you in my own image. So enjoy abundant life by overflowing with praise and thankfulness. And you won't have all this irritation and issues in your life when you got praise and thankfulness flowing through your heart. Okay, got one last one here, and we'll close with this one. Is it the right image for it too? Yeah, okay. Oh, that's stuck on the video. Oh, it's pointing to his heart anyway. So, abundant life by overflowing with praise and thankfulness. That's how you have abundant life, having praise and thankfulness in your heart. So, now you can take a deep breath and rest in the deep assurance of my unfailing love. Let your body, mind, and spirit relax in my presence. I said, relax in my presence. Your body, your mind, and your spirit get to relax in my presence. Release into me, release into my care anything that's troubling you, so that you can focus your full attention on me. So, when the things are troubling you, release them into my care. Release into my care anything that's troubling you so that you can focus. You're losing focus sometimes, right? So release it into my care so you can focus. And once you do focus your attention back to me, and you'll be awed by the vast dimensions of my love for you. How wide, longer, higher, and deeper than anything you know. Rejoice that this marvelous love is yours forever. Think about that. This marvelous love is yours forever. You have reason to rejoice. The best response to this glorious gift is a life steeped in thankfulness. Every time you thank me, you acknowledge that I am your Lord and provider. This is the proper stance for a child of God, receiving with thanksgiving. Bring me the sacrifice of gratitude and watch to see how much I bless you. Bring me the sacrifice of gratitude, of your gratitude. Bring me that sacrifice. I know it's hard, so just say thank you. That's your sacrifice of gratitude, saying thank you in hard circumstances. If you bring me that sacrifice of gratitude, you just watch and see how much I bless you. You're already seeing. You're already watching. You're already seeing how much I bless you. You guys are doing awesome at this. And I think you guys are starting to understand how valuable this tool set is. With stuff ramping up in the world, you guys are still maintaining your composure pretty good, pretty well. Other people are starting to really lose sleep. They're getting agitated, irritated. They can't find that peace now. And more is getting tacked on. You are walking right through it. You are salvaging each day the best that you can. It's progress, not perfection, okay? Some days it just doesn't feel like you're making progress, but those are the days you are. It's kind of counter to what you have always thought. It's not based on your performance either. Okay, these are tools to help you through your times, through each day. Okay, we're in the salvage business. Okay, salvage being the root word of salvation. Okay, salvage broken hearts, salvage broken relationships, broken bodies, broken spirits. Okay, we try to take what was broken and fix it. We take a negative experience and look for the positive in it. When you're slippery, when your foot goes into that slippery hole of self-pity, recognize it, pull it out, take a minute, thank me for bringing it to your attention. A brief prayer takes your mind off of it, and then you can realize, hey, I just overcame something. And when you are battling each day, it gives meaning and purpose to your life. You are a spiritual warrior in spiritual warfare. You're actually doing it where nobody else is. Okay, this is harder than combat. I've been in with people that came out of combat and they said, this is harder than just taking orders and firing a gun. This is way harder. And I said, yeah, it is. This is not easy. It has to be practiced every day. And some days you have better success. Some days you feel like you don't, but that's okay. It's your willingness to continue to try to better yourself. It's just keep going. Okay. Know that you're making progress each day, even though it might not feel like it. And then you can have some peace in your heart and sleep at night knowing that no matter what happens, it still does not change your outcome. You belong to me. You were bought with a price, okay? And you're secured. That love does not change. Okay, so despite no matter what's going on with the sun, the earthquakes, volcanoes around the world, what Russia's doing, whatever, does not change this eternal destination. You are guaranteed victory. You have reason to rejoice. When you see a lot of these craziness going on that would stress everybody else out, you should laugh and clap and cheer. People will turn to you and go, are you psycho? You'll be like, no, that means my destination, my finish line is even more secure. Everything that's happening are all signs of what's coming, right? So when you see these things begin to come to pass, look up into the clouds. People might call it pareidolia when you see a face in the clouds, but the Bible told you, look up into the clouds. you'll see me coming in the clouds with power and great glory. You see this crown right here? That signifies power and great glory. This is my face showing up in the clouds on Easter with a crown. 2,000-year-old prophecy came true. I showed you Mary and angels in my garage. I've shown you my birthmark, the marks on my feet. This is all everything. It's because of who I am. It's all true. I am the truth. I am the way. And when you practice the way, you will find the truth is you can salvage your day and take that light and bring it into somebody else's life and teach them how to do the same thing. You want me to make the cloud talk? I'll show you the one where it's spitting lightning and growling at the ground, because that's what people are going to be seeing here too. Just real quick before we close out, because my friend here, yes, Love Always is here. We can do that really quick here. What was that? What's called? Here, let's take you to this one really quick. All right, this is going to be a little spooky, folks. All right, but you got to know that this is still part of the process. After an ad.
Until a shelter is installed, customers can keep their meters safe by clearing meters using a broom, not...
Yeah. Okay, this is about the sounds in the sky. All right, these people I don't think saw the giant face in the clouds. They were just recording the sound. Now, the sound is happening at a slower speed because the spiritual realm works at different dimensions and at different speeds. So in order to hear this better, we're going to double up the speed really quick, twice on the audio. So we're playing it twice the speed so you can hear the sounds that are coming from the sky. That's a real event, you guys. All right. Already has happened. This was a few years back, too. This is a real event. Here, let's go really quick back to my channel because I got it played at a different speed on my channel here where you can capture just a little bit better. What was it? God is here. There it is. Same video, right? Whoops. Easy on the volume there. So here, yeah, this person has taken the video and doubled the speed, and it came out better on this one, I bet. So
His face is bisymmetrical. It's got black on one side, white on the other. Here's the eyes.
Whoops. Reset this speed back to normal. Bear with me for a second here. All right. Now we can go.
Up here, I'm just going to start playing the video. And this was in a video about the sound in the sky, so I want you to listen to the sound.
So it doesn't have much to say, but it does growl and spit lightning. All right. So for places that are in big trouble, well, they're going to be seeing that face. Other people get to see this face. You notice this little white arch over the nose here? And that in all these pictures, that little like white arch area right there. See it right there too? It's the same face, same person. Yeah, broken nose. All right, so the face does talk and growl and spit lightning at some countries. Hopefully you're not one of those countries. So the spiritual realm is indeed in control of the weather too. And I've shown you, where was this one here? The big bad wolf huffing and puffing. You see clouds coming out of his mouth, all right? So all your weather is really being controlled by the spiritual realm. Here's this little guy dropped out of the clouds. You see he's got pupils, teeth. When I tell you faces pop out of the clouds and follow me everywhere I go, I mean it. It's not a joke. Today, I'm all over the place, all over the town. There's places, faces all over the sky, chasing me all around town. There's the big bad wolf, all right? So the kid that cried wolf and then it disappeared, nobody saw it. Well, maybe there was a wolf. These are real clouds. This is what happens when you look up in these days. You know, most of you people probably buried in your phone. Don't look up the clouds too much because, well, if you did, it might trip you out. You might want to pray every time you go outside the house. If you know what's up in your skies every day looking down at you, you would pray every day you went outside. All right? All kinds of events are happening, all because, well, my presence. And you guys get to chill with me. How cool is that? I would love to come over to your house, give you a big old hug, give you a high five, give you knuckles, whatever, but I can't. But I can meet you in the air of cyberspace, and when I go live on YouTube, that's where I went ahead and created a place that where I am, you may be also, so you could be caught up with me in the clouds. See, it's like a good book or a good live stream. You get caught up in it. It takes your mind off of world events for a while, takes you to a magical place, right? Okay, so that's what this is. This is the real thing. You're caught up with me in the clouds like a good book. You are technically raptured, even though that word does not exist in the book. Man-made word that everybody's counting on. Boy, are they counting on it hard, huh? You can see it all over the internet. Oh, rapture's got to be happening right now. Well, they're right, it is. It's just not happening the way they're expecting. It's happening this way. And you get to be a part of it. You are indeed part of the precious family. That's why I thank you for your time, because I couldn't get a doctor's time to look at this and take me seriously. It was rubber room and meds for you. You know, years of therapy with a therapist who never looked or listened or gave it attention for 5 minutes. And what a tragedy for them, huh? Shouldn't they have just given me 5 minutes of their time to show them the biggest gift, the best gift that's better than gold or silver? This gift is better than gold and silver, and I give it freely to you as a gift. I'm not monetized. I don't do Patreon. I don't have to make you go to membership or whatever to enjoy this. I give away freely. It's a gift I give to you so that you may have that foundation on which to lean on, the tools in which to fight back, so you don't slip into depression or let this world get to you in this battle for the mind. It's a battle for your mind. And if you lose your composure, you're easily manipulated. So Um, what else we got, Lord? Anything else you're gonna spit out? Okay, I think that's it for tonight. I covered a lot of bases. We got our weather covered, earthquakes covered, and stuff. But it's all because it's part of this, part of the show, part of the script. You know, the scriptures are the script. Bible is the basic instructions before leaving Earth, or how to live while on Earth, how to have a happy life, how to find joy in overcoming your adversity. That's what makes you strong. That's what gives you purpose. That's why you feel good inside, is because you know you can overcome obstacles. And when obstacles come at people, they freak out. You laugh and go, I have nothing to fear. I will overcome it. I've been delivered every time before. I will be delivered again without any kind of second guessing. You just know. When I just not too long ago, about a year ago from this time frame, well, maybe a little longer than a year ago, I had a life issue and I became homeless. And I got thrown to the base of this mountain right here. I was living homeless. Here, let's pull up this. Can we really get to the. Here, where's the zoom? I'm going to try to do this. See if we can pull this up here. You see these white buildings right here? This little road runs here. Well, just below this little buildings here, down in the bushes down there, I was homeless. All right. Right down in here, below this place, I knew I would be okay. I was right here, right where he's looking at. I know he put me there for a reason and that I would be okay. And I just went through 40 days and 40 nights. And sure enough, something came up and I was delivered and back home again. Yeah, those bushes are nice. I go back there every once in a while too, just to go escape everything and be in that moment. It's very humbling to go relive the spot where you were down and out. And go back there. Those memories take you back to that time, and they keep you humble. They remind you that once you were at this spot, but now you've been delivered. It makes you appreciate the roof over your head. When you're sleeping in bushes and dirt, it makes you appreciate a mattress. How many of you sleep on a bed every night and you don't even realize you're on a mattress? You're lucky to have a mattress and blankets and a pillow and a roof, that you're warm and safe and dry. Because out there in the bushes, you could be cold, wet, and a bear come up. You're not warm, safe, or dry. So it's very delivering when you go through such an experience and you come out the backside, okay, and you know how it works. You know that it's because of faith, okay, and perseverance and patience, tolerance, fortitude. Just keep going, okay, and you'll be delivered too. No matter your circumstances, you just got to grin and bear it. Okay, we're molding character, we're building character here, shaping you and molding you like clay, making you stronger internally and in your mind, so you can take on anything. You will be equal to anything. All right. Whew. Anything else, Lord? You got motor mouth tonight? Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, okay. Anyways, I sure love you guys. I miss you guys. I hope you guys get as much out of this show as you can. All right. And it's the real deal. You guys are truly part of a family. And I'd like to thank John for being here. Mr. John White. Love always. Thank you for being here. Amy, thank you so much. Well, no, not trying to record. Don, thank you for being here. Harley, glad you were here tonight. Did 603 make it in? I don't think he did tonight. A little early for him. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. Marcia, bless you, sweetie. And all of you guys that endured till the end. Oh, there's Tammy. Yay. I see Tammy, and I see a lot of you guys in some of the chat rooms. And isn't it kind of neat that our little secret, you're in a chat room, say it over at Daily Excellence or one of those places, and you're chatting with your buddies, and I pop in there and I say, howdy, everybody, bless everyone here. You know who entered the room, not everybody else does. It's like our little secret kind of thing, huh? And for me to try to explain to somebody in a chat room this concept is it's a little harder than that. They have to come over to a show and endure quite a few shows until you really kind of grasp this, put your trust in it, practice it, and then get results. Then you come back and you're like, hey, I like this show. I like this guy. And if you're here, you follow, like you follow on Facebook, right? I don't go out there promoting my channel and stuff. You're here because I don't promote this. You're here for attraction. You're attracted. I don't promote. So it's attraction, not promotion. You come here because you get the results you want and you know who I am and you're part of that family. So you're it's just kind of fun to be right there next to you, closer than you think, in the chat rooms with you, for real, in the flesh. I mean, what better way to prove that God exists than to show up in the flesh, right? I mean, wouldn't that prove it? Because clouds don't prove it, right? This doesn't prove anything. It might increase your faith and finish your faith. Now you know, but the proof is in the man behind the wand here, this hand. Okay, this is a gift I give. It's a great gift, but there's something better than this gift. It's the giver. Don't forget about the giver of the gift, all right? And when you remember who's giving you this gift and who I am, then you'll know who you are. You will have your true identity. Okay? The more you believe, the more trust you put in, the more you get in return. It's equal. As much as you put in, as much as you get in return. If you have a little bit of faith, you might get a little effect. But if you go full bore, you get it full bore in equal measure. So I think that's it for tonight. I love you all. I miss you all. You are indeed caught up with me in the clouds, where we met in the air of cyberspace, where I went live on YouTube. I created a little place that where I am, you may be also, so you can be caught up with me in the clouds and we can meet in the air. My family get to meet in the air. I love you all. Until my next show, I will be back. I'll see you guys around in the chat rooms. Bye.